Welcome, everyone. I appreciate you coming. This is the Promptly Challenged panel. This is where we're going to talk about writing songs to a challenge or a prompt. I'm your host, Tommy G, and we have a bunch of panelists with us who have done this before. They have written songs to challenges, like for SpinTunes or for Songfight or for Narine, for the February Writing Month. Also, like Masters of Song Fu, those type of groups that have been together. So let me let you introduce yourselves. Brian Gray is here from SpinTunes.
Hi. I'm Brian. I don't know if I'm from SpinTunes. I'm from Philadelphia, but I've done many SpinTunes, many challenge-based songs, and I love it. It gets me off my ass. It lets me, it makes me write a song when otherwise I might just go a year or two between.
Beautiful. And Zoe Gray is here as well, another JoCo Cruse favorite.
Yes, relation to Brian. That is my father. I am also a SpinTuneser. I'm 20. I go to New York University now, but I have my mic in my dorm and I'm still trying to record stuff. Yeah, I love getting prompts to write to. I mean, almost so many, like 75% of my songs are based on like a scene from a movie or a character or something that I feel like it really grounds me to take some kernel of pre-existing thought and be able to interpret it. And that's what's super fun about challenges like that.
Right. We also have Ryan Finholm over from Songfight and SpinTunes.
Yeah, hi. I started writing music in earnest back in, I think, 2014, 2015. And I credit the, the existence of prompts for that. When it comes right down to it, it's Songfight and SpinTunes and Narine, songfight.org, by the way, not .net, not .com, songfight.org, SpinTunes what is it? It's blogspot.com. And then Narine is some weird Songlander kind of nonsense. So you can look for that on songfight.org on the message boards. But anyway, yeah, I started writing in earnest back in about 2014, 2015, and I wouldn't be writing if it weren't for this combination of prompts and deadlines. I really wouldn't.
And just for the folks in the audience, there's a lot of links and things up over in the Discord, and I believe they might be going up in the chat as well, if you wanted to follow along with the tunes that we'll be playing, so you can listen later. Micah Sommersmith, why don't you tell us a little bit of yourself?
All right, I've been writing songs since about middle school, and after I graduated from college, I discovered Songfight, and it was a really cool, kind of weird place where, hey, if you write a song, people will actually listen to it, and people will, tell you things that they liked or didn't like about it, and that's kind of cool. And then that led me to Narine and then to SpinTunes, and I've really kind of found a home, especially in SpinTunes. And now that Dave, the administrator, sort of retired from it, I actually am running it now for the first time this year, and SpinTunes is happening right now. So I'm sure we might talk a little bit about that. But from the sort of other side, being the person giving the challenges is also really cool, because it's just fun to have an idea, and I might have some ideas in my head of where people might go with it. And then hearing, a dozen or more, or, a bunch of people doing songs to that idea and taking it in directions that I did not think of at all. And it's really, really cool. So I really love doing that.
That's awesome. And congratulations. Thank you for picking up the ball. Dave was not able to continue and retired. So you actually stepping up kept SpinTunes back and running. It's been going for 10 years. So new blood, fresh time, and more songs. It's like, I think they're up to like 1,500 songs plus that have been created through just that one prompt system, we'll call it. And last but not least, my partner in crime, Alan Morgan from Bafo Yucks Dudes, Pop Machine, etc.
Yeah, as Tom said, I am the other half of the Bafo Yucks Dudes. Tom and I have known each other for, well, it's been a long time, let's put it that way.
Late
Since our college days, which were a bit farther away than yours, Zoe. No, I've been writing songs mainly kind of in a fun performance art comedic way for decades at this point. Some of the stuff that my other bands, Pop Machine and Osmium, have done, we've done some TV work, we've been on Dr. Demento half a dozen times or so. And when Tom pulled me into SpinTunes, and he did pull me in, I found it was just a great place for everything to kind of come together, because I think we love working with kind of high concept prompt stuff and doing it. We will generally place around the middle of the pack. We're generally the kind of weird / crazy uncles of SpinTunes, but hopefully we haven't worn out our welcome yet.
I hope so. I hope
so.
I'm tired of us yet. So, I mean, just to give an overview to the audience, I love this community that I'm in with the internet music group. I fell into it 10 years ago because of Masters of Song Fu, and that's how I found out about JoCo, and then I found out about Paul and Storm first, then JoCo, then I was at Wootstock, and then I just kept meeting more and more people, and the networking grows and grows and grows. So I wanted to share this group of people with my JoCo group of people, because there are so many musically creative people that are adjacent to this. You don't have to be musical to write a music song. As Al knows, I don't do, it's total proof. I can write, I can type, I can fake it on a couple of things, but for the most part, no, Al does the heavy lifting on that side. And a lot of different people can do that. You can just do one little thing and work with other folks to do a band to write to these prompts. So it's worked before. We've done 2 previous panels on other JoCos. And each time somebody has been in the audience and they've come over and done stuff. And they've gone, Little Bobby Tables came on, Wendy came on. There was a bunch of other groups that are now spin tuners, and then they go off to Songfight, and they find a whole new community to join to do these type of things. There's also a JoCo songwriting community.
I just have a question actually about that very point, and Micah might have some more insight into this. It seems like there are actually more people competing in SpinTunes than ever before. Do you have any kind of information about like how many people have joined? Because there's been, it seems to me like a great influx of talent.
This year we had 47 people sign up, and then 35 people actually submitted for the first round. So it's 4 rounds for anyone who's not familiar, and we always cut down to 4 by the 4th round. So with a lot of people, it gets a little brutal because you have to say goodbye to 10 or 11 people each round. But then that means that the quality is just incredible. So we've gotten some really great stuff. A few folks reached out to some people in the February album writing month. We were kind of deliberate about that. Hey, because it was just ending, February was just ending as SpinTunes started in the beginning of March. And we were kind of like, hey, if you want to keep riding this high, here's something else that you might enjoy. So I think there were 12 people who came over from FOM, who this was their first time for them. So this was the biggest that it's been in a while. I think, I was not around for the earliest years of SpinTunes, but I think there were, 30 to 40 people in the first round around then too. So it's exciting to have a really a big, strong group of people.
Yeah, I'm excited that there were so many people this time around, and this is not the only songwriting group there is, but that's the one that we're all clustered around for tonight, to try to get you to be interested in, I guess. And as part of the process, I had asked these folks to say, can you pick a song you like? And can you just say how you handled the prompt? Here's the question. And how did you handle the prompt going forward from that? And then we'll play a little of the song on how that actually came out. So the only thing that I think I found out is, Brian, yours specifically was not a prompt for SpinTunes, but a prompt for your podcast that you do with your family, right, which is great. So if you want to tell us a little bit about the podcast and I'll put up the slate on the actual stuff.
Sure. Yeah, so my family, Zoe, my wife Heather and I, we do a podcast called Film Fam, inspired by true events. Every other week, we pick out a movie, typically a movie that's not obviously based on something true. And we find the true events that inspired that movie. And then on off weeks, we do an interview, a mini episode with someone who's an expert in the field. And so one of our recent movies, our most recent movie right now, was Mean Girls. And usually Zoe does a song for these because she can write a song in a day. She could take a half hour, an hour, write a song, and then play it on the guitar and sing it in, and she's got a song, and it's great. And I can't do that. I need to take a long time. But this one time, I took more than a week. I took maybe about 10 days, and I wrote a song inspired by Mean Girls. It's not about the movie, but it's inspired by the movie taking me back to high school and the hierarchies and stuff.
Okay, so I can play some of the song, and then you can describe on what you thought about the process, or
Sure.
what's your thought process on how that all came together. So let's play some of the song from Popular Table by Brian Gray here on the Panelist Show.
Them to call in the bullpen. You know your prayers are heard when it's on then. So amen. I must be popular. Wait a sec now. Where'd everybody go? What the heck now? We've barely said hello. Chad left Jess in tow. Rest gone, I'm still here, so only one who's still popular, 'cause I'm sitting at the popular table today. Everyone wanting me to stay, everyone wanting to be me when they see me sitting at the popular table today, ready to cash that cachet, ready to make my way. I can't remember why I was so gloomy and doomy. Now that it's mine, this space is so roomy, so sue me. The whole damn world becomes so perfumey and bloomy because I'm popular.
That's Popular Table by Brian Gray here. So go through the process.
Sure. A lot of times like this, I mean, of course, I'm starting with, okay, high school, it's people being mean in high school, but there's always something else going on in my mind. And I've always wanted to try a song that starts with the chorus, like Rockapella's Lift Up, or many songs by Queen. And so I did that this time. I started in a punk feel that then mixed in almost like a ska feel as it goes in with the guitars answering on the offbeats. And so my approach to this was, people always, they ask me, you to write the words or the music first. And I'm basically two people. I write with myself as lyricist and musician, and everything changes. I argue with myself. I write some music, and then I write some lyrics to go with the music, but the lyrics don't go. But I like the lyrics, so I have to change the music. And since I changed the music, I have to change this other section. That doesn't go with the lyrics I wrote, so I have to write new lyrics. And I'm constantly fighting with myself. But I definitely had a musical interest in starting with the chorus and then bringing it down into a major seventh led section that feels very slow and plodding. It goes through a minor 7 flat 5 for the predominant, and really it takes you in a more thoughtful way, while the lyrics are kind of betraying that this guy singing is pretty deluded in his plan that sitting at the popular table will make him popular. But he keeps that delusion in the part you just heard. The second time it goes into the slow part, everybody else leaves, but he maintains that he's the only popular person left in school because he's sitting at the popular table, and that's the definition of being popular. So, I mean, it's a setup for a single punchline is the point of that song, I guess.
I like the way how that you have complex writing skills and how you do things. So it's not just the lyrics are complex, but also the way how you put the music out and the layers of the music complement or actually contradict what the lyrics are. So if the guy's delusional saying everything is great and the music is in a minor chord set up that way, it's like, oh, that's right. Yeah, maybe he's not quite all there yet. So, and that's just one of the tools that songwriters use to make that happen. And I love your songs when you do that type of thing. So that's really awesome.
No, thank you.
So should we move on to Zoe? Zoe had a song here. It is entitled My Typewriter and Me. Let me think. I'm slowly getting these things up the way they should. Come on. I am not getting a share. There's the screen share. Sorry. There we go. So this is My Typewriter and Me. This is back from SpinTunes 15. Do you want to set this up, Zoe, before I start playing?
Sure, yeah. I'm hearing myself echoing through something, but no, I'm okay now. Yeah, the prompt for this one, this was the last round of a competition that I had been doing well in, and then in the third round we had to write like a pastiche of another artist's song, and I did Hank Williams, and I had like a whole country twang saying about the Odyssey inspired by Oh Brother Where Art Thou, with like as good of a fiddle as I could do on Logic instruments. And you know, the judges didn't love that. I think I like just barely made the cut. So here I am in the final round in the top 4, and I'm like, I really need to do like I need to go back to something personal, because that was what was working before. And I always love the challenges that are like concept based. Like there was one that's like, you're an alien coming to Earth, and what do you see? What do you think about? And so I was like, okay, I'm ready. And then I get the challenge, and it's not at all concept based. They in fact want me to write a cumulative song. So think the 12 Days of Christmas. So, and I'm sitting here like racking my brain, like, how do I make this personal and like have like emotion and be like good enough to win this contest on a 12 Days of Christmas song. And so I came up with a song that kind of chronicles the writing process and all the things coming into my head when I'm trying to just sit down and write and think about one thing, but my thoughts keep tumbling. So I think you're going to hear it, I don't know how much of the way through, but every time, wherever we're picking it up, I have been adding anywhere from 1 to 4 lines on each repetition. I'll talk more about it after we listen.
Ache of heartbreak, the song caught in my head, the quiver of the trees, the taste of the sun, my typewriter and me. I like to sit alone on my roof, writing just illusions of grandeur, self-doubt for forever, the memories of friends, the old ache of heartbreak, the song caught in my head, the quiver of the trees, the taste of the sun, my typewriter and me. I like to sit alone on my roof, writing just unending in the background, humming in my head, just 1,000 little signals that I might have just misread, just the thought thought that if I screw it up, I'm wasting what I've got. Just the need I have to think of everything I've never thought. Just illusions of grandeur, self-doubt for forever. The memories of friends, the old ache of heartbreak. The song caught in my head, the quiver of the trees, the taste of the sun, my typewriter and me.
So it continues on, and you add more and more as you go. How did you feel when you got to the finished product?
I was proud of this because I wasn't sure how to make like an emotionally touching, like affecting song with this challenge. And that's something that I do, honestly, for our podcast. I had to write a song about the Fast and the Furious. And I'm sitting here like, how do I write I could just write like a funny song about how the Fast and the Furious is just like a wild franchise. But I wanted to do something, it just ended up being emotional anyways. And that's kind of how this one turned out. I realized part of the way through writing it that I needed 5 gold rings. I needed something that would catch every time. Otherwise it was going to get real monotonous. And that was the old ache of heartbreak. I had to like stop the tempo and give something with a little hook of a melody that would every time be like kind of a reset for people, that it would be nice to hear. And it gets more and more personal as the song goes. It starts kind of descriptors and then really is one of the most personal songs I've ever written, I think, talking about my childhood and like what scars I have and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. But my favorite final touch, I realized after the fact, after I recorded the piano and the vocals and the harmonies for like this 5-minute song, I was like, I don't want percussion. I want this to be stripped bare, but I need something else. And so I took my typewriter, I put it by my mic, and I typed somewhat to the beat, somewhat out of time for 5 minutes straight. Like I didn't loop, because it's really hard to loop with a song that's constructed this way. I just typed for 5 minutes, and I think it took me like 2 or 3 takes to get some typing that I thought sounded right. But I think that was an important part, and sometimes that part doesn't even come during I'm a very much lyrics and music at the same time, but sometimes things will come way later on in the process that I'm like don't even realize until the end, and then I can't imagine the song without it. But no, I'm proud of how it turned out. I won that. That's the competition that I won. So I guess I did good.
You did. That's one of the 2 competitions you won. I loved on the part of that song the fact it's about writing, and you put in a typewriter, and you use the typewriter as the percussion. And I thought that was a master thought. And it's like, oh, I'll just do that. And I think it helped the flow of just continuing all the different segments and brought them right together. And I thought, all right, that was a really nice touch. And each time you're doing something, you go, oh, what else can I add to that song? And that was magic, I thought. So very good job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So let's continue on. Let's go to Micah Sommersmith. Micah, I'm going to mix myself up again. Why don't you give us a little bit of a thought on your song?
Well, I actually want to, for just a couple minutes, I want to talk about that challenge that we just heard Zoe's song from, because I was a judge for that SpinTunes, and I actually, Zoe might not know this, but I actually proposed the challenge. So I know that there were some people who were like grumbling about like, how am I gonna come up with this? But I wanted, when you think of that cumulative song, you think of like the 12 Days of Christmas, or like There's a Hole in the Bottom of the Sea. You think of like a lot of sort of nursery rhymes or like children's songs. And so I was really interested to think like, how are people going to try to come up with a new spin on this form that we have this very specific idea of what it's capable of? And Zoe's song really blew me away. I thought that it was the best song in the round, and I thought the win was well deserved. Brian also had a song in there that went through the instructions for making beer. I think the yeast song. So every verse added a step in the process of making beer. I did a song that was about. I did a shadow song, so judges can enter songs that don't compete, but they're still sort of part of the album. So I did a song about like a schoolyard rumor about a crush going around, and like all the different kids finding out from other people that you like me, and it was just so cool. That's probably my favorite thing about these competitions, is just when you have an idea and then you see people take that in all these crazy directions. So and I like, Zoe was saying there's the conceptual ones and then there's the sort of more formal ones, and I like those formal ones because they, you can get stuck and you're okay, here's my verse chorus bridge, like, okay, I got my song. But if you have to go into a new form that you haven't really thought about before, how does that inform the kind of song that you write? So that's just I wanted to kind of add that as an idea of where things go with a specific challenge. But I'm happy to talk about the song that I brought, which is called Chariot Ride. And now I'm hearing myself. And it is, the challenge was to write a song based on a scene from a book or movie. So this was one of those conceptual ones. And I was a judge for this tournament as well. So there was no pressure on me whatsoever. And I was actually not even really thinking about writing a song for this challenge, and I had some ideas, and then I sort of realized how they were coming together. And I don't know if you have my clip, it's about 1.5 minutes. Otherwise you could just play sort of the first half of the song. But you can start at the beginning, and
wherever you'd like me to start.
Yeah, start at the beginning, and we'll listen to Chariot Ride.
You say that I should take it on the chin. You say it with that stool-consuming grin. But the heel is the chin of the foot, and pride was always my Achilles heel. So if I take it on the chin, well, that's a blow to my pride, and you know how that feels. You know the feeling's real. The tendency of tendons is to snap. Your basic tendon basically is crap. As for Achilles, his Achilles heel was never in his foot, but in Patroclus' eyes, and in the way Patroclus laughed, and in the passion that he put between Patroclus' thighs. He loved Patroclus, guys. So when Patroclus dies, it's no surprise Achilles cursed the frozen skies and vanished to his tent to nurse his broken pride, alone inside, emerging the next morning with a brand new taste for genocide, sweeping men aside on his vector towards revenge, sweet as nectar, upon Ilium's protector. And poor Hector took a very, very bumpy chariot ride.
So I was playing with this. I was just, because I'm sort of playing with ideas, even if it's not for a prompt, I was playing with this sort of chain of metaphors, this like take it on the chin, and then I had this idea that the heel is the chin of the foot, which just seemed like dumb enough that it might be a fun idea. And then I got the Achilles heel. I was just like following this chain of metaphors, and I was like, oh, I'm talking about Achilles. He was from a book. I mean, kind of a book. He was from an epic thing. I could do that for my song. And so, that was basic. It's basically just like 1.5 minutes long verse. And then there's a little instrumental break, and then there's a second verse. So sometimes I do, kind of more standard verse chorus stuff, but it's just like, this is just like one long phrase that just keeps going here. And it's like, okay, I mean, I'm having fun with it. I think I pretty much wrote, as you're hearing it, I just kind of kept going, following this train of ideas. And now that ends with poor Hector getting dragged around the walls of Troy. So And, you know, I wasn't, because it's a shadow entry, and, you know, when these songs get judged, the judges always vary on how important they think fidelity to the challenge is. So, as I'm running the things, I'm actually not a judge. So I recruit all the judges and I compile all their scores and everything, but I don't actually contribute to the rankings. But my personal philosophy is that I like thinking of the challenge as a jumping off point for creativity. I think, you know, the challenge pushes you in a particular direction. And it's nice if, you know, and sometimes people stay really locked in that lane. And sometimes you kind of veer off course and you end up in kind of surprising places. But as long as you can kind of tell where that starting point was, and as long as you get a song out of it that you're excited about, I think that's really what matters ultimately. So I was really happy with how that song came out, and I thought it played with some fun language ideas. And one of my weaknesses as a songwriter is that I'm like go into a song trying to make a point, or I'm like, this is what this song is, or this is my thesis statement for this song. And this song I really didn't. It was just like, let's follow this chain of ideas and have some fun with it.
That's awesome. It's interesting when you get a prompt, what the thoughts are going through your process and how it goes forward. And everyone has a different way of handling it. Some people throw a lot of ideas out. Some people go, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And other people struggle forever and trying to come up with what that song's going to be. And then at the last second, they go a different way. So let's go to Ryan. Ryan, Finholm, what did you think? What's your song for us this time?
I chose Center Square, which was SpinTunes 13 round 1. The prompt was to pick a dead celebrity. And it was a pretty straightforward sort of prompt. I'm pretty much done. I just kind of wanted to mention in the beginning that this was a pretty basic sort of a prompt. It was a topic prompt, made it relatively easy. So I'll just go ahead and let you play it.
In the center square, each night you'll find me there. I'm a man trapped in a box. Without the center square, this show's a dull affair. Housewives love that kinky talk. So much fan mail for this confirmed bachelor. People love it when I lisp and flounce. Everybody knows it, and yes, I let it show. Just can't say it or let it get around. In the center square, each night you'll find me there. I'm a man trapped in a box.
That's pretty good. That's a good sort of an idea of what the song sounds like. This, you know, I work in collaboration with people because I have a terrible singing voice. So I do not sing. I do not allow myself to sing for the benefit of everybody around me. And the collaboration adds sort of another layer of, you know, of pressure to actually do things, which is good. But just for this song specifically, let's see, when we got the assignment, we, you know, me and my collaborator Chumpy, the other member of Jerkatorium, exchanged some emails with just brainstorms about people we might want to do this challenge for. I'd suggested some people. He suggested like Liberace and Hedy Lamarr. I'd suggested like maybe Andy Warhol or Paul Lind. And when I got that email, I was like, Hedy Lamarr is such a great idea. So I wrote a wonderful song about Hedy Lamarr and sent it over to him as a pitch. While I was writing that song, he was writing a song about Paul Lind, which turned into Center Square. What he sent me, though, was kind of more of a down-tempo, like Creedence Clearwater Revival sounding song. And at that time, I was listening to a lot of Amy Winehouse and Motown, and I've never really been afraid of disco. So I just sort of tweaked it a lot. And I wrote a bridge for it and, peppered it with some more lighthearted lyrics and sent it back to him. And, a little bit of back and forth later, and we ended up with this Austin Powers sounding version of the song about Paul Lynde. And it worked out really well, I thought, for all of us. It's one of Jerkatorium's sort of best received songs, I think. None of my family are Jerkatorium fans, but they like this song. So I think it's a success that way. But yeah, so this was, a pretty good. I like how it turned out. It's happy, it's jumpy, it's poppy. I like that. I would just like to kind of stress again that I wouldn't be writing music if it weren't for prompts and if it weren't for Songfight and SpinTunes. Since my preteens, I've considered myself a musician and a songwriter, but then after college, I didn't do anything for like 20 years. And the reason is because, why? There's no motivation, there's no real reason for me to write music. And even when I felt that I should be writing something, when I felt that I should be being, creative, I always found reasons not to. I didn't have the right computer. I didn't have the guitar that I wanted in order to make music. I didn't have the keyboard I wanted in order to make music. But if there's anything I can stress to all of you right now, and everybody on the panel already knows this, but shopping is not making music. Shopping, if anything, is the evil anti-making music. Thinking about making music isn't even making music. What you need to do is you need to figure out what you need in terms of motivation and start just doing music. What I needed was a prompt, I needed a deadline, and I needed feedback. And songfight.org gave me all of that, as does SpinTunes and as does Neurine. And in addition to that, again, collaboration brings pressure, because if I flake on something, then I am letting down not just myself. I'm going to end up with no song after that if I flake, but I'm letting down somebody else who is depending on me to do some work on the song. So so all of you already know this, but songfight.org, SpinTunes, Neurine, here I am, something like 70 original songs later that, if you'd told me 10 years ago that I'd be, I'd make 70 original songs, I'd say you're on crack. It's impossible. But all of this is free. There's no stakes. You should do it. Everybody listening should do it. If you're not doing it right now, do it.
There are no stakes. It's a completely vegan competition.
So if that's motivation for the crowd, I hope that you all do want to take the step up, because I know I didn't do anything for a long time. And then, I tried, and I picked up on Al here, and I fell flat on my face. I said, you know what? I'll do the honest story. I started with Masteress of Song Fu. I heard about it, and then I said, I wrote comedy for years. I can do this. This is a piece of cake. I can belt one of these things out in 3 hours. It'll be an awesome thing. And then I'm going to be doing a song against Jonathan Colton, and I'm going to win the whole thing. I'll beat 30 people, and I had a good ego back then. Still got it.
Still do, buddy.
So,
and if your ego, like mine, is more or less incompatible, as I'm finding, with competing and losing over and over, you could do exactly like we're doing here on the Shadow Cruise, and you can shadow SpinTunes. And that's what I'm going to be doing from now on. I want to participate. I want feedback, if anyone's willing to give me feedback, and I want to be part of the community. But I don't feel like competing anymore. But that doesn't mean I have to give up the challenges in the music. And it's a good way to get started. I started with shadowing before I competed.
Yeah, we're all kind of not as into the competing aspect, because all of us are such big winners. It gets embarrassing after a while to win over and over and over again, right?
Yeah. We definitely have that problem. That is definitely an issue for us.
We've won for 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just want to get into round 2. That's all we're looking for.
Hey, to be fair, I think the most we've done is like 3. All right.
We made it in 3 once, I think. I don't know. you know, the usual how it goes. So speaking of which, Al, I'll introduce you, the other half of the Buffalo Yucks dudes, plus all our friends and stuff that help us out. Why don't you talk about the process for doing the song was Bully for You?
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to address this thing that some of you have already talked about here, this idea of, you know, good music and heartfelt songwriting. We don't do that. We work on a completely different plane. We're more of a goofball high concept thing. I think Denise Hudson has referred to our stuff as the Buffalo Yucks do brain wall, because it's, in some cases, it's so dense. So it's taken me, at least, in terms of like doing my little production bit, to kind of narrow that down over the years to get it semi-listenable. But in this particular, you know, we've always liked prompts. That's always kind of been the direction that we've come from. In this particular case, was the prompt the one about the election? I think this, yeah.
There's your prompt.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. Look at that.
Al and a puppy.
And if you don't vote for our songs, I'm going to do something nasty to that puppy. No, I'm not. I never would. I never would do that. So we were supposed to write this song from a point of view of somebody who had just won or lost the election. Now, we don't have an issue with like stepping into some strange territories. In this particular case, I think maybe a lot of people were maybe expecting, like, because, you know, American politics has been so fraught, and I believe we were around an election time at that time, that we might try to do some commenting on that. But I had just read, I think it was David McCullough's biography of Teddy Roosevelt. And Tom and I were kicking around ideas, because that's normally how we start the process. We go for a high concept. And then that just kind of fell into my head, and I like slammed out a verse or so. And then Tom, I believe, just filled in the rest of it, because it was one of those things where we were just like on the same page. We put it all together. And of course, what other musical signifier would you want for Teddy Roosevelt other than Green Day? So that's kind of the direction I tried to go in. But, you know, it always seems to drift from the initial concept. And at this point, I don't mind, because it's like, well, it's just going to sound like us anyway. So
here's Bully for You.
We started this side by side. You were along just for the ride. 4 years in, it felt so great. We signed up for another slate. But when I got an itch to scratch, you set the fire and lit the match. You flipped on so many things. I trusted you and it still stings. I'm gonna start a party and tap you're not invited, 'cause you've taken down my initiatives, and now I am inside it, and it's bully for you, bully for you.
And it goes on like that.
yeah, it got from the bottom of a tin can, apparently. So yes, but that's fine. That's the way these things go. So of course, as everyone wants to do, it was a story about the 1912 American presidential election, where Teddy Roosevelt formed the Bull Moose Party, thus splitting the vote for the Republicans and allowing Democrat Woodrow Wilson to get into the presidency. That age-old romantic story.
Yeah, we are nothing if not instructive, and, you know, hopefully in 30 years we'll be in the history books for some sort of song, and that's all we'll be known for.
Well, we'll probably be in the history books for either most shadows or most losses in SpinTunes, but we're trying. We're trying.
We're working on that. Yeah. So I want to open up to the panelists. What are your thoughts on how prompting has helped you or hindered you going forward? I know I need a deadline or nothing ever gets done. So how does it work for you guys?
Yeah, I think a topic, a direction is a gift. You know, it's like if you said, Ryan, write me a song, I'd be at sea, right? I wouldn't know a direction. And, you know, but if you give me, again, a prompt and a deadline, then I'm set. I'll have something for you.
Yeah, for me, I think it's the deadline more than the prompt, maybe, because I have a backlog of maybe 20 song ideas that I want to write someday, and I have plenty of free time and I don't write them. Given a deadline and the right prompt, especially since I'm shadowing and not competing, I could pick one of my song ideas that I already had. And now I know I have a week, and if I write it, somebody will listen to it. So it's, for me, it's the community and the deadline.
I'm driven by pure ambition. No, I think the thing that I do like about the competition is that I have so many songs that I've written and do not fully produce. No, because that takes so much time to go down into the studio, which is where my father is calling in from right now, and record vocals, record harmonies, like write drums. Like there's so much to making a fully produced song that I just write off songs really quickly, and it would be crazy to do that for all of them. But if I'm doing that for a competition, I can't half-ass it. I can't just be like, cool, wrote this song, is kind of like record it on my phone. And I mean, like, I could do that, but I know there's like people are actually going to listen to this, and everyone's trying really hard to like put their work into something. So it kind of gives me a kick in the pants to be like, no, Zoe, like, you can write a drum track, like you can figure out a cool funky bass to go along with this song, but like I don't think I would put all the work of the many layers of production into it otherwise, which then I end up really appreciating after the fact, you know?
Yeah, and no kidding aside, I mean, for me at least, this whole process has really helped me grow as a songwriter and a guy who produces music in his bedroom, because of the deadlines, because the fact that you have to kick things off on a regular basis. I mean, for the most part, I know a lot of people are professional musicians. I know they've gone to school for music. I played trombone in junior high and high school, but other than that, I've been kind of on my own trying to embrace the DIY ethos the entire time. And something like this, people are generally nice, but they're also honest. They'll give you feedback about like, hey, I liked your song, it had a great tune, but really your vocals are off, or whatever the case may be. So whenever I get any kind of message in either my email or Facebook that just starts, hey guy, I know that's Tom, and I know I've got a week to get some shit together.
So we're wrapping up on our time frame here. We can go for another minute or two, but I want to appreciate everybody came. I'm hoping that the audience got something. You can, if you want and you're there, you can poke your video up and just say, hey, yay, or thumbs up, thumbs down on whether you like more of these. I did 2 on the different cruises, and I took a break for a little while, and I'm thinking of doing one on the next one. So if folks are interested, I'm hoping, somebody in the audience may be in the panel on the next cruise, because I'm hoping to be there. So this gives you a thing to go forward on. SpinTunes next Monday. I think it's next Monday. The challenge is going to be ready, right? No, it's like we find out on Saturday what the final challenge will be, and in 2 Mondays will be the finals.
Yes.
And I encourage you to go do that. It's over at the Bafo Yucks YouTube. It's also go to SpinTunes. All the links will be over to there. And if you're interested in that, Narine and Songfight are right around the corner. Narine is an amazing thing, which is basically 8 weeks. Every week you do a song, and it's crazy, but the quality of the songs for both of these contests just blow me away. I mean, these are just people that work out of their basements, and suddenly it's like, that could be on the radio easily. So you can do this type of material with it. I feel in me that you can do this. I do, because these guys up here, they're doing it now, and they were in your position not too long ago.
I wrote my first song at 35 years old, I think, and it was because of the songwriting challenges and JoCo. I'm a software engineer. He was a software engineer. He did music. Why can't I do music? But absolutely, you're never too old to start writing music.
Yeah, and so songfight.org is through the entire year. It's just, every 10 days or whatever, there's a new title. That's how they do it. You have to write a song that has that title, whatever the title that they give is. Song Fight just happens continuously all around the year. So if you want to jump in and try, you know, no commitment besides writing one song, give it a try. They're sometimes a little bit mean over there. It's I think it's more of a running joke that they're mean than they actually are. But
Shut up, you're wrong.
They're actually mean. They are actually mean. But you know what? Just whatever. Just forget about it.
You'll get some honest feedback.
You'll get some honest feedback, but it really helps a lot. And there are some very nice people over there as well.
Narayan is coming up, and then SpinTunes will be happening again in the fall or winter. Follow SpinTunes on Twitter or Facebook, or just email me and say, hey, let me know when the next thing is coming up. That's spintunescontest@gmail.com. It's a ton of fun, and we hope that you consider joining us.
And the next Song Fight title will be up at songfight.org, probably tomorrow or the day after. So your next prompt could be coming, this week.
So I'll be up doing a listening party on Monday, and usually most Mondays you're going to hear 10, 20, 30 songs each night. Each of them are a song that's written to a prompt. I forget how many thousands of them I played over the last 10 years, but it's kind of cool that you not only get to do your song, I'll play it for you, and you're going to get immediate feedback from the people in the chat. And that's one of the biggest things is it's one thing to write a song. It's another thing to have somebody listen to it and then give you honest feedback. It helps the whole process, and it helps you grow as an artist to do more songs.
Yeah, and the community is so beautiful. The chat during those listening parties is always so lovely. Like there'll be like a song with a great punchline, and I'll just be sitting there like waiting for it to get to that point. Often when I'm listening to my dad's songs, I'll be like, oh, like I can't wait for everyone to just hear like what happens at the end of the first chorus, and then like it hits and everyone's in the chat, and it's a really nice community that I've been so grateful for. I mean, I've been doing this for like 8 years. Like I think I was 12 when I first did a shadow in it, and I was tiny and I didn't know what I was doing. And I mean, I'm still here. I'm still part of it as much as I can be, because it's really, everyone's so sweet.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for coming. I appreciate it. I think there's a spot for the panelists to go to after this. Everybody else, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.